right. Hey, everyone. Expat here from the Arena Productions and for our Digital Dojo series. And today, in today's episode, I'm joined by Turn-Based Carl, one of my contributors here on the Arena Productions,
How you doing?
who had the chance to attend the Nintendo Switch 2 event in New York City this past weekend. So we're going to be diving into his first-hand impressions of the event. So the hardware reveal and everything Nintendo had to offer. So if you're excited for what's next from Nintendo, stick around. This one's going to be packed with insight here from Turn-Based Carl. So, Carl, I got a question for you. The initial start of this episode,
Hmm.
what was the overall vibe? So, like the event experience of the event when you arrived, and what stood out the most to you about the venue setup?
Well, I mean, everyone was just happy and like joyful. It's all the people there are all smiling and excited. Like all the people who work there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The attendees were all like enthusiastic and smiling. And to varying degrees, of course, because I could tell some of them were like, it's just a job and they don't
Mm-hmm.
know too much, right? But then
Sure.
there were others who were definitely like excited to be a part of it, to work there as well.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show
Um,
some of the images now as we go along. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you walk into the event there in that main hall. They just there's like security outside a little bit, but no, nothing major.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, they you had to have your ticket, of course. They bring you in and
Mm-hmm.
they give you your badge.
Yeah.
And I was there on like timely manner, so my like 11:15 show, and I didn't have to wait very long. I lined up here a little bit. When I was in this hall, I was
Yeah.
getting a little nostalgic because they were playing Nintendo music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the first thing I heard that came on was music from Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past,
Oh, nice. Nice.
and then like an F-Zero song came on after that, and I was like, this is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's your badge there. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and the gameplay passport specifically is for the middle section of the open play,
Okay.
where that's where you had a big room and there was a lot of different games you can play, and
Mm-hmm.
on the back there were six open boxes. I have it actually here,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they would check off the games you played.
Okay. Let me go ahead and get that for you.
And they didn't
Okay.
actually. It's kind of funny because they didn't actually tell me specifically that once you hit 6 games you played, that was
Mm-hmm.
it,
Uh,
and you weren't supposed to play anymore.
uh,
So here's my little
oh,
little
nice.
list of checkoffs
Okay.
of the ones I played.
Cool. Cool.
Um, and we
Nice.
can go over everything I actually played and what I saw there.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing starts with you go into like a little holding area, and that's where they had. There goes the rundown, right?
Yeah.
Of exactly what you got. So you had the hour and 20 minutes in the free play area, but you started off
Interesting.
with the
Yeah.
whole Mario Kart World
Mm-hmm.
thing. I'll talk about that, of course. And
Yeah.
then they ended with Donkey Kong Bonanza, which,
Oh,
in my
nice.
opinion, was saving the best for last.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they were. I think they know what they were doing there with that.
Yeah, I love that trailer. I mean, I was talking with Leah about that when we recorded the arena, and
Hmm.
yeah, I mean that's going to be something special. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right. So
So
the
go ahead.
hardware. Yeah,
Yeah.
just one. I want to ask you. So, how did it feel compared, in your opinion, to the current Switch in terms to build quality and the design here? So we see this photo, and we see the camera there. So for the chat feature, yeah, that's going
Yeah.
to be interesting. So.
Yeah, so right away, once they let you into the first holding area, that's where this was. They had this case. There were two display cases, and then on the right there was a line of Switch 2 units with attendees next to them. And
Mm-hmm.
immediately, as you're walking in, if you were like first in line, they're like, "Here, do you want to hold it?" And they're just like handing it to people,
Wow.
which is cool.
Yeah.
And then I got to hold it. He's like, "This unit doesn't turn on." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But he's like, it's a real unit, and they're going through all like the features of it. He's showing you how the magnet release works, right? So
Uh-huh.
like, I have a hard time comparing the quality because I never owned a regular Switch. I only owned a
Oh,
Switch
okay.
Lite,
Okay.
so it's not a fair comparison. But I will say it feels very solid. It doesn't
Hmm.
feel as heavy as you might think because it looks pretty big, right? It's
Yeah.
it's definitely bigger than the previous one.
I
The
would assume
screen's
it's
bigger.
very similar, I think, to the Switch. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The now I love the magnetic release Joy Cons.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I didn't have the other ones. I didn't have to deal with the sliding in rails. I heard people, had some
Yeah.
issues with that. But
Yeah.
again, it's a little trigger on the back of the
Hmm.
Joy-Con, and it's not releasing. It's not like an electromagnet, right?
Hmm.
What it is it's just you push it, and it's pushing out a little like plastic piece
Right.
that's
Right.
that's pushing that's prying the magnet away. So
Right.
what's cool about that though is that it's releasing slightly, and the whole thing doesn't just come off as soon as you push it, right?
Hmm.
So it gives it enough release so that I can then pull it off. But if I push
Okay.
that little trigger and then just let go, it's going to snap right back in. It's not going to go
Yeah.
anywhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is great. And it just feels really good to do that. It's super easy. I think that's a huge advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's gonna do away with the Joy-Con drift of the first Switch that we had problems with
Yeah, well,
before.
the drift, they said they had I think they had the Hall effect sticks in this, although I don't
Yeah,
know that they've released a hardware spec sheet 100% yet, but
yeah, yeah,
either way,
yeah,
I can't compare like button sizes and stuff. The Joy-Con still feel small in my hands. Like I'm
yeah,
a regular sized adult male who has decent sized
yeah.
hands, and they feel small,
Yeah,
for sure.
I would imagine that they're just a little bit bigger because obviously the screen size is going to be bigger. So
Yes.
the Joy Cons are going to match the screen size. So
Yeah, they
yeah,
definitely are bigger, and also
mm,
significantly bigger are the little, I guess, is it ZR or whatever LR? I don't know what they are. On the inside of the Joy-Con when you take it off,
mhm,
right? With inside where the rail is,
yeah,
and now it's the magnets. Those buttons are significantly bigger, so that's
yeah,
actually a nice advantage.
yeah. And
So
I
yeah,
was going to say, and of course, with the Joy Cons now, using it in like the fashion of a mouse, kind of like a PC mouse for
I'm going
particular
to talk
games.
about that, yeah,
Yeah,
later, because
yeah,
I'll just preface that right now and say it's really good. It's
yeah,
really, really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And then there's I don't remember. Did they upgrade the stand on the OLED model? I don't
Um, I
remember,
don't remember either, but they might have.
but this
Yeah.
one has that like nice hinged stand that goes across the whole thing, and it's very
Hmm.
much like the design of the Surface Pro
Okay.
stand that they had, where
Hmm.
like you can push it down at any angle. It holds
Right.
really well. Like
Right.
it's much better than
Yeah.
I know the original Switch.
Yeah. And here's the Switch 2 Pro controller that they have, and it has the C button as well with it
And
too.
those
So
buttons are nice and big.
yeah. Yeah.
So that was a big change. Once they handed me that, I was like, oh, okay, this feels so
Yeah.
much better. But
Yeah, I have the original Switch Pro controller, and I think it's probably exactly the same except for the C button. I think
yeah,
so. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I couldn't
good
get a
stuff.
good feel on how if the D-pad was significantly better or not, because again, I didn't use
Hmm.
the Pro controller.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
there's the back buttons on it, which
right, right.
they feel fine. I didn't really get to use them. I tried them, and I don't know what buttons they were supposed to be mirroring, or
Hmm.
maybe it just wasn't even programmed yet. I'm not sure, but I never actually got to use them in play. But I could feel them and push them, and
Right.
they're very simple. Like they're not big, feeling buttons. They feel very shallow,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But they work.
Yeah.
So, all
Okay.
right, let
So
me start and tell
yeah,
you. So then, after the next area, right, you get
yeah.
into the Mario Kart thing, and they pair you off with someone, right?
Okay. Oh.
Even so, if you didn't come with someone, I just met some other guy there who was very nice. We talked a little bit,
Yeah.
and they had us play, versus each other in a match, right? And
Hmm.
we picked a level, we picked our characters, this huge roster. I
Yeah.
actually took a video of the entire roster.
Uh huh.
It's awesome, and all the different costumes are actually different characters to select in the roster.
Mm. That's
So like, it's not like you pick Mario and then you pick a costume.
hmm.
It's you pick the other costumed Mario, right, or something.
Okay. Hmm.
So people can play. Well, I guess I don't know if Mario Kart limits if you play the same character.
Now, when
And
you played Mario Kart, what like location and what kind of elements, so like weather elements, did they have for the demo there?
well, I played a number of levels, but I'll describe the level that I remember the best, the one that
Okay.
was the coolest, which
Hmm.
was one that was themed after like the original Donkey Kong games.
Okay.
So it had a lot of like beams and girders and things you could grind on a lot of those rails and stuff. And there was a lot
Hmm.
of barrels that were rolling across and different. And then once you got to the end of that level,
Hmm.
there was a big like mecha Donkey Kong who was throwing
Yeah.
giant barrels down the track.
Hmm.
And it was very cool. I like that level a
Nice.
lot. Mario Kart's Mario Kart, right? Like
Right.
I haven't played a Mario Kart in a long time. It
Yeah.
was fun. It felt good. I liked it.
Yeah, I was
Um,
surprised that they didn't name it Mario Kart 9, but they named it Mario Kart World, but I can see why.
yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
name. I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So we played a 1 versus 1 match.
Hmm.
That was docked with the Pro controller,
Okay.
and then they gave us the unit itself, right? And this is
Mm.
the only game I actually played on the handheld.
Mm.
So then I played Mario Kart World solo match, just played a level by myself on the unit,
Yeah.
and of course it felt great. It looks great. The screen's very bright.
Hmm.
Colors are very good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like I don't have the OLED obviously to compare to side by side, and I love OLEDs, but
Yeah. Yeah.
having this screen I wouldn't have an issue with.
Yeah.
I was looking at it; it seemed very good.
Well, it's 7.9 inches, right? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very very
Yeah.
big.
It's
And
very
did they
big. Yeah.
say? I wonder. I'm trying to remember. They told me. I think they did tell me it was like running 120 frames per second or something.
Yeah,
I
well, that's what
remember.
they were promoting. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Especially in the direct. Yeah. So,
yeah. So that was cool. And then okay, so after that,
yeah.
we went upstairs to
Okay.
another Mario Kart session. Now this
Oh,
was
wow.
the knockout tour mode,
Okay.
and that's where if you I have that screenshot of my ranking.
Hmm. Let me go back to
Um,
that here. I think it's,
so they brought us into a big room with
yeah.
a whole lot of TV setups, and we played a big 24 player match with everyone in the room in
Yeah.
this knockout tour mode.
Hmm.
And I don't know the exact numbers, but like the way it works is so you pick your character, you pick your car, and then you kind of vote on like the track,
Hmm.
the course, and the course is going to go to several locations in the open world, and there's like breakpoints, and at each of these checkpoints is when people are going to start getting eliminated.
Yeah.
So if you're under like 16th place, you get eliminated, right? And then the next it's
Yeah.
like 12 or 8 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I got pretty far. I was 6th place.
Yeah. Nice.
And what's cool about also that is since you're waiting for 24 people to do a match,
Hmm.
right? After you pick your characters and everything, and they drop you into the open world,
No.
so you can
Okay.
drive around. And I got to play. So that's where I got to play a tiny little bit of the open world and just drive around while I'm waiting for everyone to sort of get ready for this match to begin.
Nice.
Which is a cool, neat idea. I like that. It gives you something to mess around with
Hmm.
while you're waiting.
Nice.
I didn't really find anything of note in the open world.
Uh-huh.
You know, I was like, oh, this is cool. I guess to drive around. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I was like, all right, this is,
Hmm.
it's something.
Okay, in this next image here, so this is, I guess, you getting to play some of the third-party games, right?
Yeah. So this is the open play section here where
Hmm.
there were 3 rows of setups just like this you're seeing here with the
Yeah.
TV, and usually it was either a Pro controller or the Joy Cons
Right.
separate, and then there are other ones that had, actually, do I have the Metroid Prime 4 picture there? There's a
Let's see.
table
Hmm.
with like a big giant mouse pad, right?
Yeah.
So that you can use the mouse controls on it.
Okay.
And here's where you got to choose 6 of these stations to play what you wanted to play.
Hmm.
And I think they basically had the vast majority of like the third party stuff, and that's going to be at the launch. I don't know if all of these are confirmed for launch, but
Hmm.
you had Cyberpunk there, which I didn't play, but
Nice.
I was watching people play it, and Yakuza 0 and Street Fighter 6 was there.
Nice.
Um, Civilization 7. So I mean, we can go through the ones I played.
Yeah.
Obviously, Metroid Prime 4 is going to be one that's significant, right?
Hmm.
Do I have? I do have it there. It's
I
there.
think, let's see, actually, these are all the images that you have here. So, yeah, that's the last one.
Oh, I have it. It's there. There were 2 more I sent at the end after those,
Okay,
I
let me
guess.
check for those, but if you want to go
Yeah.
ahead and
So
so.
okay, so we'll start with Metroid Prime 4.
Hmm.
And so that's the one where they have that big mouse pad, right? So the guy is he's telling you, it starts a demo, right? You get to play like a whole demo section.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way works with the mouse is fantastic, because if you just simply put the Joy-Con down on the flat surface,
Mm-hmm.
it immediately changes over to the mouse controls.
Mm.
Right, so you don't have to hit any buttons, you don't have to change any settings. You can seamlessly go back and forth. So while I was playing that game, I was holding and playing it normally with the two Joy-Cons, and sometimes I'd switch to the mouse. I'd play a little bit like that. Sometimes I'd pick it up and I'd start playing like that again. And it was really great for me to compare and see how they feel.
Okay, I
The
think
mouse,
here's one of the
there it is,
images
right
here.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So they have this big giant mouse pad that gives you a lot of room.
nice.
I know a lot of people are probably not going to have a setup like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to help if you do, probably. Although the people there were saying like, oh well, it's supposed to work really well. Like if you're putting it like on your like your leg or something while you're sitting, and like
Right.
it'll be fine. I'm like, okay, sure. And I'm not sure I believe you,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because I was moving that thing around a lot, and sure, like it's responsive enough, but just naturally,
Yeah.
like you want to move a lot, right, with your hand and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Was
I
the
don't know.
was the
Yeah.
Metroid Prime Beyond there? Was it running at 120 frames per second?
I'm trying to remember if they told me it was. It might have been. I think they did say. I think it's one of the ones where they said it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, because I think during the direct they were promoting it being able to run at
Yeah.
120 frames per second. So
Now,
yeah,
do I notice it? I don't know.
yeah, it's
I placed. It felt like it definitely felt like 60 would, or maybe better, right? But I
right,
can't
right,
compare. I'm not
right,
that
right,
in
and that's
tune.
impressive. That's impressive for the new Switch. I mean, for the Switch too.
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
Yeah, and look, it looked
mm,
really good, and
mm,
it ran perfectly well. There was no slowdown. I didn't run into any issues like that.
mm-hmm,
As far as the game goes, um, this is one where, in hindsight, actually, Metroid Prime seemed not as great as I remember.
mm,
Like I think it plays really well,
yeah,
and the mouse is really is much more accurate, right? It feels
mm-hmm,
really good actually to
yeah,
use the mouse, and when you do the lock on.
mm,
You typically in Metroid, you lock on and then you just automatically aim at the target.
yeah,
And that works with the mouse as well. But still, once you've locked on, you still have a little freedom to like move around your cursor and your reticle and aim
mm-hmm,
more precisely if you want, which is nice. It makes it feel like you're doing a little bit
yeah,
more. But that game, maybe it's just because of the demo section that's what they wanted to show, but it was really just an action section. So it
mm-hmm,
was really, I was just going through a bunch of areas and shooting. A shooting gallery of enemies just kept coming, and they kept shooting, and there wasn't really any strategy to it. Everything was super easy. Um, then until you get to the boss, right? And the boss that was a little bit more fun. He had certain special attacks you had to dodge by either double jumping, or you could even one that was like you had to duck under, so you know go into the morph ball and you get roll under the attack. You had to shoot certain targets on them, but it wasn't particularly difficult in
mm,
any way.
mm,
So it was fun, but and I'm a little concerned. I want to see. I don't know if they've shown more of what the exploration is sort of like in that game, because
mm,
the vibe you get from that and the sort of platforming stuff, because I didn't really have to do any of that. It was just an action segment of a okay shooter, basically.
right, right. And then the final image I think you have here, I'm gonna go ahead and show that is I think maybe at the end you have
Yeah. So at the end of the whole thing,
yeah,
they give you this nice little bag here, uh,
nice. Here I'm
right?
gonna
And
get back
it's
to us here.
oh, I lost
There you
my
go.
earbud.
All
It
right,
is it's very nice quality. It
nice.
feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of zipper. It's got the section that opens up here. It's got a
Nice.
zippered section here and
So
pouch.
all of your
And there's
hardware you could
yeah,
store it in there, yeah, and take it with you
there's mesh
somewhere.
section inside here. There's
Nice,
a separate pouch as well for something thin like a laptop. It's got a
nice,
zippered pouch in the front, and it's a really nice made bag. I like. This is the kind of swag that you really appreciate when you go to an event like this.
nice.
So let's see. What do I want to talk about next? How
And
about
then
okay? Let's
Donkey
talk.
Kong. Let's talk about the Donkey Kong. Yeah.
Can I
So
talk about one of these other ones real quick? I don't
okay,
know how much time you want to do this for.
go for it. Go for it, man. Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about Dragon Drive,
Okay.
because that's the sort of new gimmick, right? The wheelchair basketball game.
Oh yeah. I saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
right.
the
I had
direct.
to,
Yeah.
I
So
had to play that because like, all right, this is their big like, okay, we got two mice. What can we do with two mice?
right.
Right.
Yeah.
This is it, right? And so at first I'm like, all right, this is interesting. This is strange. Like there's a tutorial that
Hmm.
teaches you how to play the game, how to move, right? And it's
Hmm.
what you think, right? It's you move both together to move forward. You move
Hmm.
one and you'll turn one way. You turn the other way, right? You
Okay.
can both go backwards as well.
Hmm.
Um, you can break. And while this is all happening, like the character's hands are like they're moving exactly with you, which is really nice. It makes it feel like you're really controlling it very well, right?
Hmm.
And the brakes, his hands are nice and big and chunky, so you can see him grabbing the rail. And you
Right.
can, if you're moving fast and you grab a rail, you can like, quick turn and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and then eventually we got into a match and we did a 3v3 match, right? And really the goal, it's pretty simple, and I don't know if there's more to it. Hopefully there is more to like the full game, but I did enjoy just the basics of it was nice because you can like sort of ram into each other to try to knock the ball out of them. You can pass to other players, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it just a mad dash to try to get the ball and try to get down and to throw a basket, right? You actually use the Joy-Con like a motion, and you just do like a little
Nice. Uh-huh.
shot. And as far as accuracy goes, like in the game, the way it works is if you're lined up with the rim, you're gonna have a better chance of scoring a basket,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
like the camera is gonna move a lot as you move, and if your character sort of side to the rim and you try to shoot, you might make it, but you're less likely for it to go in.
Right.
So that's sort of how the
So it
aiming
depends
works.
on like a particular angle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
And people were getting into it. People were cheering as we were playing our match, and as we
Nice.
scored. I scored twice, and our team won. And
Nice. Nice.
I had a good time with it. I think the
Nice.
mouse controls and Civ 7 I tried a little too because I
Hmm.
wanted to see how well
Nice.
the mouse controls work. And it literally does feel like I'm using a mouse on a
Like a
PC.
PC mouse.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh.
Civ 7 particularly is designed so that the UI changes also. As
Yeah.
when you switch to the mouse controls, it gets rid of like the press Y or A for whatever, right? That stuff
Yeah.
goes away, and now it becomes just point and click. You don't need to use the sticks at all, and
Hmm.
you can use either the left or the right Joy-Con for Civ 7.
Nice.
You only need one. So
Mm.
whichever one you want, even if you have both, for some reason you want to switch and using one, you want to go back to the next,
Hmm.
it'll switch automatically for you. And
Nice.
it
Nice.
worked really, really well. I'm very impressed with the mouse function. I cannot wait to see
Was
what other games utilize it well.
was Fortnite there?
No
No,
Fortnite.
no Fortnite.
No.
Because I'm thinking, with the mouse functionality on the Switch too. I mean, games like Fortnite or even Call of Duty in the future. I mean,
Yeah.
those big games like Apex and things like that. That's going to be really special if they decide to bring those games over. Especially, well, Fortnite's coming, but the other ones
Mhm.
to the Switch too as well. But
Yeah. I didn't
yeah.
notice if people playing Cyberpunk were using the mouse function or not.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember, but
Yeah.
I should have paid attention to that.
But yeah,
I will
I bet.
say,
Before you go on, I bet you were really excited to hear about some of those titles that are coming, especially third party titles. Because I remember back in episode 200 of the
yeah,
arena, you were talking about the big selling point for you was going to be third party titles, and
right.
yeah, a
And
ton of
seeing them
them
in
coming.
action, in motion, they
Yeah,
all worked seemingly very well. I mean,
yeah.
Street Fighter 6 was one I tried briefly, and
Mm-hmm.
actually it was kind of silly, but I tried because there was no wait, and I was kind of trying to get through a lot of stuff.
Uh huh.
Was they had this like sort of waggle mode
Uh
for Street Fighter 6,
huh.
which is they're like, all right, each person gets one Joy-Con, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you tilt left or right to move your character left or right. You
Mm-hmm.
shake it to do attacks, and you can like spin it or something to do your super move,
Uh huh.
and that's sort of it. And there's probably maybe a little bit more to it, but I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it feels kind of terrible because you don't feel like you're really in control.
Oh,
But
okay.
but I got the idea that of how the game runs, right? Like it
Right.
looked really good. It ran really well. Resolution seemed obviously a little lower than what I would expect from like the higher end consoles, but
Mm-hmm.
performance seemed really good.
Yeah.
And then the attendee made a really good point to me. he was like, yeah, he's like, I was telling him how I didn't really understand it, but what I was doing, but he was like, yeah, it's kind of sort of makes a lot of sense if you're a kid, right, and you have a child and you want to give them the controller and they're not going to be able to play the game, right, because they're not really ready for something like that, but they can shake it around and make the characters do stuff. And I'm like, you're 100% right about that.
Yeah.
It is really good for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Donkey Kong. So tell us
Donkey
your impressions of
Yes.
Donkey Kong.
Great. Last thing I wanted to say, just really quick, the
Yeah.
mouse thing. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the setup. Maybe it's just not being used to it. Using it a good amount of time, I did feel some strain in my hand and in my forearm, just from like holding that position and moving it a certain way. Back. So
I see.
I don't know how that's going to work over time for a lot of people.
Mm.
Might not be the most comfortable, but maybe it depends on your setup, right? If you're sitting like at a desk, maybe it would be a little bit better.
I see.
All right. So yes,
Donkey Kong. Yes.
Donkey Kong Bonanza. So yes, we finish your open play section, and you can go into the Donkey Kong arena, right?
Yeah.
And this is the final thing they're showing off, and you get to play again another demo section, right? A full demo.
Just smashing through everything. I mean,
getting through
just like
right.
they showed in that demo. Yeah, climbing
So
and smashing.
Starts in a tutorial area.
Yeah.
And you're Donkey Kong like in the mines, and the other monkey is talking to you about something. We found this thing, and we're gonna go to get it, and you can just start smashing through the walls and stuff, and there'll be like treasure that's like sort of stuck in the ground that you smash the ground around it to grab the treasures and stuff. And then there'll be these big crystal bananas, right? And those are special. I don't know what the meaning of them in the game is yet, because it kind of wasn't. I think it like skips some certain things as you're playing the demo. But so those are like, I assume that they're probably like maybe power up something that you're going to collect, right? Maybe at the end of a level, maybe the stars, even like how they used to be in the Mario games. I'm not 100% sure like how they factor in, but there are a lot of them. There's several of them you're going to find, right? So we smash a crystal banana and you get this really great like animation, like it'll like show Donkey Kong from the front, and he'll do something, and it'll do like a freeze frame with like a fun like goofy face or like thing he did, and there'll be some text on it, and each one of them was like something silly, like it was like a name for this particular banana. I can't remember them, but they were all silly, and I was like, I love this. This is just like so much energy and fun. Like you just feel this
energy
vibe.
and fun, and something that the whole family can enjoy.
It's just a
well.
great vibe, right?
Right.
So then after you like break out of the whole thing, you get into this early area where you can then you're a bit more free, right?
Yeah.
And here it's like it's very guided but sort of open ended, right? You can use a specific area you're supposed to go to. You can look at the map, right? But you can go any way you want, because you can climb also. He free climbs whatever, right? Which is nice. So like if you dig yourself a hole in the ground, to get out, all you got to do is just walk up the walls. Basically, they could climb up the walls like it's nothing. He can freely rip a chunk of rock out of the ground.
Nice.
And of course, he can smash things with it to do more damage. He can throw it at enemies that are flying. And then another really cool thing he can do is jump on it and use it like a surfboard and just like surf around the map. And he can, like, if you hit Y to speed up, he'll like pedal it, like he'll move it with his hands, like he's like spinning it faster. It's just a really, those great animations. It's just so much care and thought into a lot of how everything's going to look with Donkey Kong, all the facial expressions he does. There was some bunch of simple enemies, nothing amazing, but it just feels fun to be in that world and smashing everything up and ripping up rocks. And there was these special purple sort of cube rocks. They're like some special material, and you can rip a chunk off of that, and you use that to break these stronger walls, right? That he just can't normally smash through. So you got to grab those to get through that. And then there'll be this enemy that you get to. He's sort of like the boss of the tutorial, and he's made of that material. So you have to grab there'll be sometimes there's boulders of it. You have to use those boulders of it and throw them at him or smash him with it to break up that harder material that's like covering the core creature,
Mm.
and then you defeat him.
Nice.
I even found this like little bonus level that you dropped into, and it dropped you into like this arena, and they made
Mhm.
you fight 3 enemies, and you had a time limit that you had to defeat them in,
Yeah.
which is cool. So I can expect there's probably a lot of those little bonus areas with challenges and stuff to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just has just such a great feel. The control, it just feels very fluid, and it just feels there's like so much to explore and to find. Like I started
Yeah.
after I did that, they drop you drop down into the next area, but that's where they don't let you play anymore
Mhm.
because that's like the next bigger map.
Mhm.
So then it dropped you back to the area you were in, and you get to sort of like look around and try to find things. And
Mhm.
so I looked at the map, and I'm like, all right, you can turn the map. It's a full 3D map, right? So you
Mhm.
can look and see everything on it, and the map like adjusts based on like things you've done to it too.
Mhm.
And that, so I was looking for areas to go, and I'm like, all right, I can get down over there, right? So I'll go over this way, and I'll just smash through the rocks here, or I'll like burrow down here, and I'll get to
Mhm.
that area. And yeah, sure enough, you can find your secrets that way, and it just feels
Nice.
awesome to do that. You know?
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be a great game when it comes out. So, final question for you. So it seems, talking to you about this, that you had a great time at the
Mm-hmm.
event for sure. So, but was there anything in the event that didn't meet your expectations?
Let's see. I'm trying to think because I even, I was thinking more good things to say, really. I'm trying to think of the games that I played. I mean, I skipped over that like welcome tour thing. I didn't even want to get that.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
just, I don't, I talked about this during the podcast, but I mean, I just don't understand why they're charging for a demo, but that's another story. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I played the GameCube emulation, and
okay,
that worked really well. And I got to use a GameCube controller, which was
okay,
surprisingly more solid feeling than I even expected,
hmm
which was nice. That felt like a modern controller, just that looked like a GameCube controller, which was neat.
hmm
Um, Man, what didn't? Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough question because
okay,
everything was
yeah,
exactly as good as you would really expect.
okay.
Um,
Okay, so I'll give you a different question here. So
yeah,
I know you don't have the original Switch, but so
yeah.
going to this event, what would you say to fans who are still on the fence about upgrading to the Switch 2?
I would say that this thing is going to play all the current games at at a performance level that is good enough, right, for most people.
Yeah.
So if you're like third party stuff that you were going to miss that you already missed on Switch One, you're going to get access to that, and you're going to play it, and it's probably going to be even better playing it just on the handheld because the
hmm
resolution is not going to matter as much, right? So on the
hmm
big screen, yeah, you might notice the resolution not being as good, right? But performance was accurate and sorry, adequate for that. Feel of it, size of the thing is significantly it's better, right? It's bigger size. The
Right.
Joy-Con release is fantastic. Like it's just going to make that idea of switching, as the name is called, so much easier to like go between just throwing it on the dock, right? Just popping those off
Right.
like it's
Right.
nothing, or even just setting it down another thing on a table, right? With the new kickstand,
Yeah.
right? That's gonna be so much easier to do. Like you're not gonna. I don't know if people fumbled with it or not, but like when I was trying to do it with the unit, like I was pulling it off and I'm holding the things and I'm like, wait, I still gotta. But like I can still do it because it
Yeah.
worked, right? Like
Yeah.
even if they had the things in my hand. So
Right. Right.
and they're gonna have the exclusive games. I mean, like
Yeah.
Mario Kart World feels like a great Mario Kart. I can't really compare it to the recent ones, but I feel
Yeah.
it felt great. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think, is the star. I think that game's you're gonna love it. Have a great time.
And the one that it wasn't, I don't think it was there at the event that you were at, but they talked about it during the direct, and I talked about it on the podcast. It's my most anticipated game of the Switch 2 is that new Hyrule Warriors game that's coming.
Oh
That's
yeah,
in conjunction with Koei
yeah.
Tecmo and Nintendo. So yeah, I'm
I
really
don't
excited for that
believe.
one. So
Yeah, I don't believe that was there.
no, it's
Yeah,
still in development, I think. So yeah, they're
because
still
that's not
working
coming at
on it
launch. That's coming later in the
later
year,
in the
or not
year.
even near launch. Right? Like Donkey
Yeah.
Kong July.
Yeah, later in the year or maybe early 2026, but maybe this year. But yeah, so yeah, a lot of stuff, and all the collaborations now. I mean, with like PlayStation and of course the Elden Ring. The new
Right.
game
Yeah.
from Software that's going to be
Hmm.
coming to it. So yeah, I mean, some exciting stuff. So is it a day one purchase for you, Carl?
Well, here's the
June
thing.
5th. Yeah,
That's going to depend on the price now because,
yeah, yeah.
of course, the situation with the tariffs happening and they
Right.
delayed the
Pre-orders. Yeah,
pre-orders here in the
yeah.
U.S.
Right.
So I assume that means the price might change. So if it
Hmm.
does, that here's the thing. My plan. I was going to still get it, and
Yeah,
I was going to trade in my Switch One. If I and
yeah.
GameStop's going to offer like $100, and I'd
Hmm.
get the $500 unit with the Mario Kart.
Yeah,
So I'd effectively get it for about 400, and that's an incredible deal. I think
yeah,
that's
yeah,
100% worth it.
yeah,
If you're buying at 500
yeah,
with Mario Kart, still a really good deal for what you're getting.
yeah.
But if they raise the
My
price to like 600, I don't know. I think I might wait.
my advice, Carl. I'm just being facetious here. Come move out here to Japan, learn Japanese, and then you can get it for $350.
Oh yeah,
It's interesting. I mean, because they're
super
having the
simple.
two SKUs out here. They're having
I
the
know.
Japanese only version to protect the consumers here in Japan from China and what's going on with the black market and stuff. And then you have
Yeah.
the international version, which is around the same price as what you're going to pay in the United States. So
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm still on the fence about which one to get. I mean, I can get the Japanese version, but then again, I might want to play some titles that might, come out westward. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. For you, it probably makes sense to get the international one.
Yeah, because the Japanese version will be region locked. So
Yeah,
you
right.
have to have a Japanese account to get it.
But I
So
like
yeah.
that they did that. I feel like the vibe on that is kind of mixed, but I think it's really nice if you're a Japanese, person and
Yep.
you're like,
Yeah.
this might be too expensive for me. Well, guess what? Like they did something for you to make
Exactly.
it so that you can afford it.
It's the
And
home market, so they're catering to the home market in that respect.
yeah, and
So
being
yeah.
region locked, I mean, not a huge deal because
Right.
you probably don't leave your country that often. Like it
Exactly.
matters, right?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you're not going to
especially
take
not
it.
now.
Yeah, you're not going to
Especially,
take it.
yeah.
Like if I had a U.S. region locked console that was cheaper, I would probably buy it because
Yeah.
I don't go that. I don't leave the country that often.
Right. Right. All right. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and a big thanks to Carl here for sharing his on the ground experience at the Nintendo Switch 2 event. Let us know in the comments what you're most hyped for the Switch 2, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss any more of our Nintendo coverage right here on the Arena Productions, your destination for gaming and geek culture. So, from an expat's perspective, of course. So, thanks, Carl. And we
You're welcome.
shall hopefully catch you again soon on the Arena
Mhm.
and for more gaming content here on the Arena production. So, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
thank you all, and have a great week of gaming, everyone. Peace.